Welcome, good evening, you wonderful dice of all planets. I am Lunar D8, and I will not be sharing that 13-hour video. Mainly just because upon re-examining it, I'm like, it's too fucking bad. It's, one, not only is it terrible karaoke, but I mean, it's just, like I said, it eventually just completely devolves into me just crying hysterically and screaming and shit. And honestly, it is so fucking bad. And initially I was like, I'll put the point up till like right where I passed out for like that 90 minutes. And I'll have it with this picture. And then I'd have the other half, or third or whatever, with a picture of Jack all built and strong like that. You know that pose where he lifts that giant, technically it's the weight you would use for the bench press or deadlift, doing with one arm. But, like I said, I sang a couple hundred songs during that 13-hour video. And while this channel is about me not having a filter and trying to be more open and honest about just what the fuck pops my head and not having that filter, honestly, the audio of me fucking crying and wailing and screaming and laughing, that is, I feel that every rendition of the Joker that's ever been in any movie, whether it's Heath Ledger or Jared Leto, would be seen as a completely normal human response compared to what the fuck I did. Like, there's, like, a lot of my stuff on this channel is very cringy. But listening to that, I'm like, that's just really, really, really far beyond. And I was originally just gonna like let the video play and record itself while I tried to sleep or something, because it's a lot of hours and I gotta work and stuff. But it's just, I mean, I might find clips of where I sang songs okay. I think I did Mine Hair's Brent like 4 times during that time, so maybe a few of those turned out pretty good. But there also was a good solid 2 hours, and it's just interesting to look at the build-up to that. Like the video just progressively gets worse until it's just a full-blown fucking mental breakdown. And I'm just like, honestly, I don't think I've seen a movie or anything where someone cried that fucking hard. Ever. And it's like, no. It's enough for me to say that it happened. I don't think, because honestly, just how fucking bad it sounds, and I don't mean like the bad karaoke part, I mean just the fucking hysterical laughing, the screaming and the crying, and the very, very negative self-talk. That stuff gets kind of extreme too when I went back to listen to it a bit. The negative self-talk, the just thoughts, shit I'm saying. It's really fucking dark. That's like, I may read fucking creepypastas and shit, and I may make, very cringy fucking videos, and I may try like, the point of the channel is me dropping the filter and just being honest with everyone and using this channel as an emotional outlet. Plus, of course, it's the main focus of the channel is it's a Let's Play channel with a focus on comedy. But I've been making a lot of cringy videos. It's just, I mean, I'll keep the video on my computer just for self-reference. But honestly, I have never heard anyone cry that fucking hard in my life. Ever, in any way, shape, or form. And I'm like, that is, oh my god. There's no way I'm sharing that with you guys. No offense, it's just, and part of me is like, hey, maybe there's people out there who would identify with the feelings that I have, and that maybe them hearing that would make them feel that it's not just them. But let's be honest. It's just too fucking bad. It's too fucked up and dark. Like, just the shit I'm saying, how fucking depressing, how self-deprecating it is, just how negative it is, as well as just the sheer volume, both in length and intensity, of just the hysterical laughing, the crying, the screaming, the wailing. You'd think I was in a fucking Saw movie. You'd think that you were like watching fucking Hellraiser, like the audio, just with how fucking hard and hysterical I was fucking crying. I'll just say this. If anyone out there feels that sort of feeling themselves, just know that, yes, there are other people that feel that way. Just, I'm not going to have you guys hear it. Because that's just... Part of me is like, well, what if it helps somebody? I'm like, you know what, there are better ways to help people, other than just hearing me be apparently a very sad person or some shit. And also be bad at singing. So yeah, I'll keep that video for my own self-reference to just sort of evaluate my own mental state and just sort of take stock of how to improve on a self level. Because I do want to get stronger, build some muscle. I just got back from the doctor, by the way. They took a lot of blood, so yay, more tests, and I'll be doing some x-rays and stuff later the week. So yeah, so it's good. But yeah, you're not missing much of the video. It's literally me singing terrible karaoke for several hundred songs, having very personal conversations with myself with just about every topic that you would consider personal. And maybe a good example why I should never, ever, ever record a video to that length ever again. Because I can click through that 13-hour video, and I can listen like you go by every 10-minute increment. You can hear a slight change in my voice as it slowly builds until it becomes a full fucking mental/psychotic breakdown. And then it's just hours of screaming and wailing and crying, the most hysterical bullshit crying and hysterical like Joker laughing that you've ever fucking heard in your life. To the point that I'm pretty sure Heath Ledger and Jared Leto and all those people were like, they'd probably, like, even if it was not just the actor but the real life equivalent of it, they'd probably be a bit uncomfortable around me. Not that it's a threatening thing, it's just more like, it's just cringe isn't even a word for it anymore. Like, it's so fucking bad. Like, it's like the loudest, most emotional, most roller coaster of a fucking cry fest. And like I said, I cried so fucking hard that in the middle of doing it, I was vomiting and puking. So I literally became so emotional and sad and crying all over myself, and just crying and laughing hysterically and screaming, scream crying, laugh screaming. Like, Mark Hamill's got nothing on me in terms of what my fucking Joker laugh is. Oh my fucking god. I feel like I could just probably record that laugh and put it on a fucking old school cassette grinder and have it set to push play if someone came in the house. Fucking Jeff the Killer or some creepypasta monsters, if those existed that came by, I could just play my laugh and they would leave in fear. It's that fucking bad. And it's not bad in a way I could be proud of. It's not a way you could be proud of. It's a way like, more so a shame. It's like, oh wow, I'm that sad and pathetic. Like, that's the worst fucking crying wailing that's, like, it's, oh my god, no, not sharing that, which is a funny thing. It's hilarious, because initially I did try to share the video. Initially, when I had finished recording it, I just tried to upload it. And then YouTube told me no, because they're like, oh, we're not going to upload anything more than 12 minutes. So, I couldn't upload it at all. I did. And the Terrible Karaoke Guess the Anime Character 7, I did record a couple clips out of it, mainly when I was doing the Bendy song. But that's, like, I recorded, I talked for, it's a 17-minute video, but really I recorded maybe 12 minutes out of the 13-hour video. So yeah, I recorded 12 minutes. 12 minutes. 12 minutes out of a 13-hour long video. The first 6 minutes of which took place at the very start, and the next 6 minutes I played took place 10 hours in. But it's a 13-hour video. And like I said, my voice is still a bit scratchy because apparently you can't cry, sing, scream, yell, moan, and laugh hysterically. And like I said, the laughter I was doing, I'm pretty sure that's enough to, like, if I was in the fucking back rooms, I'd be the monster everyone else would be fucking scared of. And like I said, that's not something to be proud of. That's more so like, maybe I should take myself out to dinner or something just to cheer my ass up. Because holy shit. God damn. And like I said, I know I've posted some videos where I was reacting to certain things and I maybe like laughed a little bit. Like take the professional reading skill video off of the Super Meat Boy playlist. I laughed a little bit in that one, yes. And you might say, after listening to that video, you're like, that's a little bit? I'm like, yes, that is a very tiny, tiny fraction. That, if the amount of hysterical, fucking fucked up Joker laughing, creepypasta monster-ish shit that I did in the fucking 13-hour video were an ocean, then the professional reading skill video was a fucking droplet of water. It's that fucking bad. The crying, the negative self-talk, the self-depreciating talk, the very negative mindset and thoughts. Like, and granted, I did spend like some of the time singing like a couple hundred songs. And I did talk about a lot of very personal things in regard to my own life, in regard to my own feelings, my beliefs, mainly my feelings on a very personal level that normally you would not tell anyone, even your closest friends. Hell, it's the sort of shit that you might not even ever tell God, you know? It's like, you wouldn't, like, even your closest friends in the whole world, you wouldn't fucking tell them this shit. You wouldn't talk about these kind of feelings. Plus, it's just us going off some tangents on bullshit philosophical stuff. And granted, yes, it's my feelings and it's my point of view, but honestly, I feel like I come off as a pretentious fucking prick. But That's kind of what happens sometimes when you talk about how you honestly feel and you just become emotionally caught up in what you're talking about. You sort of just stop caring what people would think about you, and you just completely say what is on your mind, how you think it in your head. And it's just, no, even as much of a cringe as my channel is, even as much as this channel is me trying to be honest and not, sort of mask feelings or hide shit and just try to be open and honest with people, it's too dark. It's too fucked up. And the crying, like I said, it's hours of it. It's hours of literally crying full fucking volume, screaming. It's literally like the worst fucking crying sound you've ever heard in your life. Like, it is worse than any person I've ever heard in real life or in any movie ever or any anime. It is the worst, most emotionally sad, depressing, pathetic, just, it is painful to fucking listen to. You're like, oh my fucking god. Because you listen as much of a fucking deal as I'm making of in the video, like as hard as I'm fucking crying. You'd think I'm in like the fucking Hellraiser movies. You think I'm in fucking Saw movie as hard as I'm fucking crying. As emotionally fucking out there as I'm being. Like, holy fucking shit. But I guess that's kind of the problem. Like, I recorded a very long video. Like, I don't think, like, from what I was looking at it, I don't think I actually full on started, like, tearing up until, like, 2 hours in. By 5 hours, you're starting to hear a little bit of sniffle where I'm starting to, by 6 hours, I'm crying. By 6.5, I am crying at full fucking volume to the point that it sounds like I'm having an asthma attack. It sounds like I'm having a fucking heart attack. I'm complaining about my arms starting to go numb. I am crying so fucking hard that I'm constantly blowing my nose, choking on my snot. I'm crying all over myself, and then I wind up crying so fucking hard that I then start violently vomiting and puking while continue to cry. And I'm also the whole time back and forth between occasionally coughing, but also mainly just crying at such a loud volume and intensity between hyperventilation and then going back and forth between like the most fucking maniacal Joker laugh that honestly Heath Ledger, Mark Hamill, and Jared Leto and Jack Nicholson have nothing on me. Like, it's so fucking bad. And again, that's not something to be proud of. Like, it is the most sad, pathetic, bitch-ass, pussy-ass crying. Like, it's the sort of crying that you'd hear and you'd be like, oh my god, that guy is such a fucking goddamn pussy. Oh, that's so weak. But then you'll be like, oh my god. It's that fucking bad. It's like, it's just, no matter how cringy I know I posted a lot of very cringy videos. Honestly, nothing I've ever posted ever comes close to just every category of fucked up. Because like I said, by the time I'm like, especially by 7 hours in, it's just, I'm full on screaming at the top of my lungs while laughing hysterically, having fucking hyperventilation episodes, crying all over myself and you can hear me violently, repeatedly vomiting to the point that even after I've stopped having contents left in my stomach, I'm still violently retching as if my body's trying to expel every last bit of stomach acid and bile out of my fucking gut. And I'm just back and forth between the most hysterical, crying, loudest fucking screaming as if I'm being... You'd swear I was in a fucking Saw movie having, like, my limbs sawn off from how fucking loud I was crying, how loud I was screaming, The fact that I was crying so hard, I was hyperventilating. I was crying so hard for hours that I kept back and forth between just being completely like on the verge of a hyperventilation thing where you think I'm dying of a asthma attack / panic, anxiety, whatever. Like, you're like, okay, is he dying? And I don't know. And it's just like, it is, like I said, and initially I tried to post it as a 13-hour video because in general, I don't like editing. And also I was like, well, it would feel dishonest not to post it. I'm like, I'm trying to share something. And then it's just and I'm glad it didn't let upload, because upon further examination, it is even worse than I remember. Because I did the thing for the Terrible Karaoke 7 to post the 17-minute video. I just went to, like, I had a vague idea. Like, I knew I did the Bendy song at the very start, and I knew I did it shortly after I woke up from the passing out. Because I passed out for like 90 minutes. I basically screamed myself unconscious while laughing hysterically in the most fucked up goddamn Joker laugh imaginable. It would not be a good idea for me to upload a fucking 13-hour video where I passed out for 90 minutes of it, where I'm spending the majority of the time singing several hundred songs very badly, and then where I spend at least 3 to 4 hours with the most negative, self-depreciating self-talk ever conceived. Like, think the worst fucking emo shit you could ever fucking imagine. Think the most fucking self-depreciating, self-pity party, bullshit, weak-ass, pussy, give-up motherfucker talk you can imagine. And that doesn't even come close to what I was fucking doing. Like, the negativity and the self-depreciation and just the dark aspect to what I was talking about was just... It's just so fucking bad. I think the main thing we all need to learn from this is that I should not record a long video, because I can... Like, I've made long videos, but even then, sometimes if I've made longer videos, it does, like... But at least then I'm playing a video game. It's distracting. Like, I've made some long Isaac videos and shit like that, but at least I can stay mainly focused on Isaac. But here's the thing. If I'm literally just playing, karaoke and singing, not only is that much more physically exhausting, which I guess wears down a bit of mental resistance to, crying, I guess, or some shit. I don't know. I don't know how this shit fucking works. But, it's just... Music is a much more emotional experience. And the further I kept going down that rabbit hole of the physical exertion combined with doing something that's emotional and thought-provoking, eventually I just kept going further and further down that rabbit hole until eventually I just, like I said, around 6 hours and 45 minutes in, it just went from, at that point, being, because here's the thing, at the very start, I'm just, I'm a guy, I ate a fucking cheeseburger, guys, we're going to sing the Bendy song. And I'm just singing the song, let's be karaoke. Occasionally you start hearing me start to sound a little more sad. Then I start tearing up, and then I start sounding more audibly sad. By 5 hours in, I'm starting to, okay, I gotta blow my nose a bit more. So by 6 hours, start to cry a tiny bit. 6.5 starts moving more. And then all of a sudden, it's like watching someone very gradually, in very small increments, go to a full fucking mental psychotic breakdown. It's like, what the goddamn fuck? It's like the idea of watching a sandcastle get built through a time lapse. Watch a plant grow through a time lapse. Watch a rock erode over time lapse. But instead of a rock being eroded, it's my fucking sanity. Like, it's like actually watching a time lapse or listening to a time lapse of somebody going from normal state to complete fucking psychotic breakdown. And it's like, oh my fuck. And then, of course, I spend hours just screaming and crying and doing the most hysterical, and I don't mean funny hysterical, I mean most emotionally over, just complete overdrive of emotion laugh, that just, the laugh just, it doesn't sound like happiness. It's more so the laugh of, it's the kind of laugh that you would probably have if you were in terrible pain. Which I know doesn't make much sense, but it would if you heard the laugh. And no, you don't need to hear that. Because like I said, I do have other videos like the professional music skill where I laughed a little bit, but that is nothing. That is nothing compared to this. I'm glad it didn't let me upload it, because I tried, because I was like, okay, it feels dishonest to edit stuff. It feels dishonest to delete a video. And I'll keep it just for my own self-reference, but I'm never fucking posting it. I might find a clip of a certain song I feel I did okay with, and it sounded cool, because I know I did Mind Hairspray a few times, and I probably did really cool with it a few times, and it might sound really awesome to hear. It might actually be a couple of songs. I did a couple hundred. A Broken Clock's right twice a day, so maybe I did a couple karaoke songs that'll actually sound good. Maybe I sounded really amazing for a few of those songs. But of course I haven't been able to sit and listen the whole goddamn thing through, because it's 13 hours and I don't have all the time in the world. But I'm just sort of skipped around, and I'm like, it is the crying, the screaming, the laughing, the sound of me repeatedly, violently vomiting. It's worse than I remembered. And I'm like, oh my god, I'm glad YouTube has that stipulation saying you can't upload a video more than 12 hours. Otherwise, that video would be up for you guys to hear. Not that anyone would sit around to watch a fucking 13-hour video. And I think that's kind of where I was going with that, too. I think part of me, as I was getting more sad, I was like, I'm going to get better. I'm going to stop being sad. I'm going to sing more songs. And then people are going to see, like, oh, it's going to be a fucking 7-hour video. No one's going to watch the entire 7-hour video, so they'll never see the 10 minutes where I maybe cried lightly. Instead, it's a 13-hour video that consists where, over half of it is me crying in some form. And at least a good solid, 3 hours is me crying and laughing. Honestly, like I said, it is a more sad, pathetic, pussy-ass cry with more emotion, apparently, than anything I've ever heard in my fucking life. In movies, anime, anything. I have never heard a cry that fucking loud, that fucking just... And like I said, cringe isn't even the word for it. This channel is cringe, but it's just above and beyond anything that's even remotely just... I'm not okay with sharing that. That's just... Because like I said, the hysterical laughing and shit I did, it's literally the sound of somebody having a fucking psychotic breakdown. It's listening to an audio time-lapse of a mental fucking breakdown. Because like I said, it culminates about halfway through the 13-hour video in me crying so fucking hard that I'm violently vomiting and laughing hysterically while screaming as if I was being murdered. And it goes on for hours at such a high volume. I was screaming as loud as possible, and I was laughing. Honestly, just Heath Ledger, Jared Leto, Joaquin Phoenix, Mark Hamill, they have nothing on me. That laugh, that is... I'd scare the fucking shit out of Jeff the Killer. I could be a fucking SCP containment breach, and the fucking peanut would run the fuck away from me. And again, that's not something to be proud of. It's not only is it such an overly emotionally driven cry, but it just sounds so pathetic and sad and just... it is the most emotional crying I've ever heard in my entire fucking life from anyone or anything in any way, shape, or form, even counting movies, anime, video games, anything. Even real life, other people. I have never heard anyone cry with that intensity ever. Or I've never heard anybody laugh with that kind of intensity, especially a laugh that was completely devoid of any kind of fucking happiness or joy or humor. Like, it's like the greatest amount of laughter ever, and it has no positive redeeming qualities at all. And like I said, I was thinking about, like, okay, I'll do up to the point that I pass out with this video, with this picture. And then I do the rest with a picture of Jack being all buff and shit. And it's just... no. Oh my god, no. Like, there's a few things, like, I might post a couple of songs that sound cool and are all happy and cheery and shit. And like I said, if you guys want to suggest a song for me to sing and stuff, that's cool. Maybe happier songs might be a good idea. But a 13-hour video tells me one simple thing. I should not, and not just because my voice is scratchy. I mean, granted, that might not be the length of the video so much as the fact that I was screaming at the top of my lungs while crying my eyes out and wailing and vomiting violently because I cried so hard that I started violently puking everything out of my system. And then after that I kept retching as if my body was trying to expel every last drop of stomach acid and bile out of my gut. And during that whole time I'm back and forth between hyperventilating, screaming, crying and wailing, self-negative deprecative talk, and just, like I said, the laughter is just Heath Ledger, Joaquin Phoenix, Jared Leto, Jack Nicholson, Mark Hamill, they have nothing on me. And again, that's nothing for me to be proud of. That's just like, they are actors. Their shit was just them playing pretend and being an amazing actor. My stuff is that I'm just a really fucked up person, apparently. So at least their stuff is skill. They're like, ooh, we're good at acting. Good for you. My stuff is just, I'm pathetic and I'm overly emotional, apparently. And I'm all sad and shit. But like with them, it's a skill. With them, it's acting. With me, it's legitimately just, it's a fucking audio time-lapse of a fucking psychotic break. Like, it's literally listening to someone have the most full, like, imagine the most full-blown mental breakdown you could ever hear a person ever fucking have. And I mean, anyone you ever met in your life, for any reason. And it's not like I have any reason to be justified to have a reason to have more mental breakdown than someone else, but it's just how fucking dramatic it sounds. And I'm like, also questioning myself, like, really? Really, Lunar? Do you have a right to feel like that? Do you really have a right to be sad? I mean, really, the things that you're complaining about, those aren't big deals. It's like, why are you sad about those things? They don't fucking matter. And besides, there's much bigger things going on in the world. People enduring much, much worse things than you. And yet, they probably don't even cry at all about this stuff. And yet, here you are, crying like such a big fucking pussy. Okay, I'm starting to actually get into the negative self-talk again, but at least it's nowhere near as bad as it was in the video. I'm just saying, it got really, really bad, and I'm like, listening to it, I'm like, I can't really justify that I have any right to really sound that sad and that fucking broken. And that just, it really is a fucking audio time-lapse of a mental breakdown. It's like I put in sound form a diagram of a fucking psychotic break. And I'm like, yeah, no, nobody should hear that. Because that's just, it is so... Because like I said, his channel is cringe, but like, no, hell fucking no. No. And even then, I'm going on too long with this. It's 35 minutes, and even then, I'm starting to gradually sort of... Like, I can't do videos like this. It's one thing to do a short video where I do a karaoke of like one song, one take through. and it's another thing for me to play a video game. But you guys can't trust me to do anything that influences me emotionally in any way for any prolonged period of time, or most of all, you cannot trust me to start talking about my feelings or things that matter to me, because I will start getting lost in my feelings. I will start, I will start not being aware that I'm really recording a video, and I will just go full blown into my thoughts without restriction, without restraint. And you guys are going to feel like I'm driving a car and all of a sudden I'm flooring it 100 miles over the speed limit and I'm on the other side of the road, and you guys are like, please, Lunar, this is not what we signed up for. This is not what we expected when we started this video. And that's kind of what happened in the 13-hour video. It was meant to just be a terrible karaoke video. It was meant to just be like, hey guys, I'm going to sing the Benny song and some other stuff. We're going to have fun. It's going to be awesome. And, hey, I'm going to sing, and I want you guys to believe in yourselves to sing. And I just, we're all just going to have fun with it, and we're all be happy. And it's just going to be a cool, entertaining video. And it turns out music being an emotional thing, plus a physically exhausting one to sing, and with me actually getting into the music I was singing and sort of just immersing myself in just everything it is on even a subliminal level. And I mean that where it's not even like I'm really aware of it anymore. I'm just sort of what would you call it, a fucking trance state, to where I'm emotionally just sort of, I stop giving a shit about how what I'm going to say would be perceived by you guys in any way, or how you guys would judge me, or be like, oh, wow, Lunar's being a bitch or something, or he's becoming overly emotional. At some point, that shuts off, where I'm because normally I'm an overly self-conscious person. But as the video went on, it just normally I talk about a filter anyway, these videos, a lot less than compared to real life, but eventually, because in real life, I can't remember the last time I ever cried in front of another human being. At all. Even tears. Even 1 or 2 shed of tears. I'm very stoic. People would describe me as the happiest person they ever met. Most optimistic, most patient. I'm the person trusted to train people at places I work. I'm the person that people go to for advice in the past. I'm the person who people see as I am seen as the most calm, collected, and emotionally stable person most people have met in their lives. I am very good at people. I'm very good at making people in the real world think that I am happy and the most emotionally stable, if emotionally lacking, person in the world. I come off as, in real world, I come off as an extremely overly stoic, calm, and kind and polite person. And in general, whenever I push record on these videos, I drop that filter to a large degree, and I just let myself say whatever the fuck pops in my head. But there's still more filters beyond that first filter. I just drop that first filter. I'm more open with you guys than I am with people in the real world. But, even though I'm more open, there are still lots of things walled off. Apparently, I can't be trusted to talk about anything that is emotionally pertinent to me. I can't sing for too long because music is too powerful of a thing for me. Because there's so many times I'll lay down in bed trying to go to sleep, and I'll either listen to ASMR or watch some anime, or I'll listen to music. And a lot of times maybe I'll tear up a tiny bit while listening to music, music has a very strong effect on me. But I think that's the appeal of music in the first place. I think a lot of people have the same thing where music has a strong effect on them. It's just, like my normal everyday life, whether it's at work, in public, even around the people I would consider my closest friends, even around my family, even around the people that I've trusted most in my life, even around the people that I've, been intimate with, even with the girlfriends I've been with. Like, in general, apparently, especially in relationships, I tend to be very affectionate. But in terms of the more darker emotions and shit, like even around people I would consider my closest friends and family, public, wherever, in general, my personality tends to be very stoic, very calm, very patient, very almost lacking in emotion, to where people would feel that I am completely devoid of emotions at times. In fact, people would feel that I wouldn't have an angry bone in my body, and that I'm an overly kind, overly polite, overly courteous individual who just is always calm and collected and can always smile and make a lighthearted joke, and if he sees somebody sad, he can try to cheer him up. He's always the person trying to be just nice to everybody. And because in general, that's what I like to be. I like being kind to people. I like the social interaction. And I just don't like yelling and screaming and stuff. And like, if I play a video game with somebody, I'm not going to yell and scream like I die and shit. I don't want to make them uncomfortable. But I play here in the video, when I play here by myself, I mean, why wouldn't I yell and scream? There's nobody else here. But if there's another person, I mean, I'd be more calm because, well, I don't want to make them uncomfortable. But it's just, in real life, I'm like the most stoic individual. Like, people not only don't see or hear me cry ever, a lot of people would probably think that I have probably never cried once in my life. Like, that's how a lot of people would perceive me. That I'm the person that's just like, oh, Lunar probably just doesn't even feel sadness. He seems so happy. And he's just the most calm, collected individual they ever met in their lives. And people see me as the most emotionally stable person they have met in their lives. The most patient person they've ever met. The most kind person they ever met. I am generally seen as the most stoic person people have met in their lives. That people would feel that they feel that I should be more angry verbally and outright. They feel that I should be more emotional. That compared to most people, I seem more stoic and less emotional than your average person. But that's mainly just because I keep a lot of that to myself, because, and even then, when there were a few times where I had some stuff going on, I talked to a couple friends about things, I still, even though I talked to them quite a bit about certain things that happened that were pretty bad, I still kind of kept that under wraps. I didn't start crying in front of them. I just completely calmly, with a completely straight face, described the negative things that were going on and then asked them for feedback. I was like, hey, this thing's going on and this thing's going on. I don't like it. How do I fix it? What's your advice? What should I do? I'm trying to get your perspective because I feel that I am inept on how to properly handle this situation and fix it. And I think that you're better at solving these kind of problems. So I'm describing my problem to you so that you can give me advice on how to fix it, because I want to fix whatever said problem is going on. Or get advice on, like, how do I proceed? But, I do it in a completely calm manner. I'm not crying, I'm not even tearing up. To the point that people would start to think that even if it's the most emotional thing that I should be crying about, they're like, it's like, does Lunar actually care? Does he have a heart or soul? And the thing is, in person, I just don't feel like there's been a lot of situations which have garnered just a general feeling that, one, I just don't like sharing those feelings with most people, and even with the people I trust. There are restrictions on that. I am a little emotionally reserved on that, because like I said, just about everybody would regard me as the most stoic individual they ever met. Like, I'm the most stoic, calm, cool, and collected individual people have ever met in their life. That's how they would describe me. The fucking 13-hour video, complete fucking polar opposite of that. Oh my god. The amount of screaming, the amount of hysterical laughing, the amount of crying. And like I said, I cried so fucking hard I was having fucking hyperventilation issues. And I did it for hours. I cried so hard I was violently vomiting. The sound of that on the recording is like, oh man. It almost makes you want to retch out of grossness just how fucking intense that is. And like I said, the laughter, I'm like, oh my god. At that point, I'm like, I think I might actually be an SCP, guys. Because, oh my fucking god, listening to that video, I'm like, and like I said, I click around here and there just because it's 13 hours. I can't just sit and listen to the whole fucking thing. As is, this thing's getting so fucking long. It's supposed to be like 3 minutes of me quickly explaining. No, you're not hearing the fucking shit where I cried hysterically. That's no. But yeah, it's weird though. You like listen to it in 10-minute increments, skipping ahead, and it's just you keep hearing a slight differentiation until it just goes complete full-blown mental breakdown. Just a complete fucking psychotic break in audio form. And you're like, oh my fucking god, this is so bad. Like, even though this channel has so much cringe, even though I was talking about like this Daikon Duck guy was like, he posted a thing in his community tab saying, embrace the things that make you cringe. And that's kind of how I started on the whole terrible karaoke, guess the anime characters, because I've always been doing some terrible karaoke. But the one that's, the guess the anime character one, I did that like, okay, I'll embrace the cringe. We'll embrace the cringe. And we'll just be silly and goofy, guys. We'll be silly and goofy. That's it. And I'll just make some terrible singing, and we'll make some silly jokes. And that's where we'll go. Apparently I can't be trusted to do anything that taps into my emotions, nor can you guys trust me to talk about anything serious, whether it be my own personal emotions, or religion, or politics, or my relationships, my family, my health, anything. Mainly my emotions. You guys can't trust me to talk about that. Because the more I talk about it, the more I listen to music, like I can listen to a little bit with you guys, and be fine. You guys won't hear anything. You'll hear me at most, I'll try to synchronize the music, and I'll try to emulate the emotion. But you can still hear that I'm not actually emotional myself. I'm just trying to be good at singing. That's it. I'm just trying to be good at singing. And I'm trying to sound as enthusiastic as the person who's a professional singer. Now, as we got later in the video, it's not that I got better at singing. It's just that my voice became so fucking overly charged with emotion to where it was still terrible singing. It was just... there was just so much. And at least the second rendition of the Bendy song didn't have that much in it. You mainly just heard that my voice is raspy because the second rendition was at the 10-hour mark. And that was after having vomited so much. And vomit's kind of acidic, especially if you keep vomiting after your stomach's empty and you start, expelling bile and stomach acid. There's a reason my throat is still scratchy. It's just... I have some Pepsi here, by the way. I drank a little bit of tea with honey and lemon earlier. I'll drink some more later. But it's just... Yeah, I can't post that. I mean, I could, but I'm not going to. Because, like I said, it's so fucking bad. You guys can't trust me to sing for more than 20 minutes before I start going down that fucking rabbit hole. So if I ever do any karaoke videos, it's literally just going to be one song, one take. I'll do some practice before that. But, yeah, it's just going to be one song, one take. If I do it anymore, it's a rabbit hole we need to avoid. Same way, you guys can't trust me to talk about anything serious. Whether it's religion, politics, philosophy, my relationships, my family, my feelings, my concerns, my beliefs, anything that actually you guys would feel would matter in this grand scheme of the world. And by that I mean like religion and shit like that. You know, my feelings don't actually fucking matter. Not in the grand scheme of things, and not really in the, you know, smaller scheme of things either. But again, main point I'm just trying to say this. I'm a random fucking guy out there in the world. Really shouldn't matter to anyone out there how I feel about anything, because what would it matter? I'm just a random fucking guy. And it is kind of, I don't know, silly to think somebody would actually want to listen to me screaming for hours while hyperventilating and crying and laughing and vomiting. It's kind of a silly idea. But I think it was just like, I just wanted to do like, because originally it was going to be like, what, a 20-minute video? I was going to do one rendition of Bendy, and I had a list of a few other songs. And you guys can even hear like what I recorded a little bit in the 17-minute video, where I clipped the Bendy stuff, where I was like, fuck this other list. I might do a couple songs. I was like, we're not going any longer than 15 minutes. Because I was just like, you know what, my throat's already a little bit tired. I'm exhausted. I want to play Proteus. I want to play King of Fighters. You know, I want to play some more DJ Max. I want to watch some more anime. I want to do other stuff. I'm just going to do like 15 minutes of a video. And then I kept saying, oh, I'll do one more song. I'll do one more song. And then I became more and more emotionally invested. And I kept like dropping the rest of the filter. And like I said, eventually the filter in the wall comes completely fucking down. And then you just have completely raw, unfiltered Lunar D8, which is honestly the grossest fucking thing you can imagine. It's literally just the sound of me crying at full fucking scream volumes. It's crying to the point that I'm hyperventilating and screaming as if I'm in a fucking Saw movie, to the point that I'm laughing hysterically with more of a fucking demonic laugh than anything you could have ever imagined in your life. I could die and go to hell, and they'd be like, we don't want you. Please get out. We're scared of you. Like, we're scared of you, Lunar. Please go away. Like, it's not like it's a malevolent, it's laughter, but like it's completely devoid of anything you would consider happy or even humorous. It's just, and then the fact that I was crying so hard that I cried to the point that I started violently vomiting repeatedly, and it was just the sound of the vomit coming out like it's like somebody fucking exploded a goddamn fire hydrant. Like, how is it that fucking loud? How does it sound like there's that much fucking fluid moving at that much fucking pressure? Like, oh my god. Main thing I'm trying to say is this. It was meant to be a lighthearted video. And there's a few things, like toward the end of it I sing the Scat Man and Banana Phone and stuff. You know, that might be cool. Though there are a lot of songs where I was like saying every other word as I like began to back and forth, like try to sing and then just break down crying because I couldn't form words anymore. And not because I was sad I couldn't form words. I mean, I was like literally just so fucking sad and crying that I couldn't function to do sentences anymore. So even now, as I'm continuing to talk, like you can start to hear a tiny bit of a change in the intonation of my voice. Like, I'm doing it again, just very slightly. But listening to music definitely accelerates that process. And like I said, it's just, at least playing a video game keeps me focused on something else. I can focus on what I'm doing in the video game. Heck, a lot of times in real life, I can just focus on what the other person's saying. I mean, a lot of people feel like I'm a very good listener in real life. But that's just, I'm focusing on them. So then I really don't have time to be emotional myself. I'm focusing on helping them. Or just valuing their companionship and just hanging out with people. You know, I'm not really focused on me. You know, at that point, myself is an afterthought. But you put me in a situation where I have to focus on myself and actually talk out loud about my feelings. I'll start off reserved, not saying much and being fairly quiet and ad-lib about it. But eventually it just goes full blown to the point that I'm like spouting out entire paragraphs in the blink of an eye. And I'll just completely become so immersed in what I'm talking about that I just stop caring how it's perceived. Like, entirely. I stop caring about even reserving anything I say, and it's just completely raw, and just, this is just as raw as possible. And it's just, that is not appropriate for me to be crying that hard. And part of me is like, well, what if there's other people that feel the same way? Well, if you do, first off, obviously you should go see a doctor. Therapy, maybe take medication, listen to your doctor. I don't really take that kind of stuff. I'd probably start therapy at some point. Doctor suggested, like I said, I went to see a doctor. Did a shit ton of blood work, so took a bit of blood out of my left arm. And scheduled some x-rays for later in the week. But, and where we'll go from there just depends on how the blood work and shit works. But it's just, it's just fuck. Now that being said, on a side note, guys, I am planning a plan B for, like, if after the surgery, if I'm not able to do my physical manual labor job anymore. I do know an old friend of mine who works at a office job. He helps get people approved for medical things out of insurance and stuff to get their medicines. So I could always probably get a job there. It'd be an office job. Be easier on my knees. Especially if after the surgery, if my body winds up not being receptive to that. Plus, even then, it's just like, I don't like my job. I don't like my job. I can't listen to music. I can't have a radio. I can't have earbuds. It's just, there's a lot of things that piss me off. But at the same time, I'm grateful for my job because it pays my rent. I like having a place to live. I like being able to buy things like, the laptop I use to play games or buy games. Or, have electricity or food, or car insurance, phone, pay for dates if I ever actually meet somebody again. But that's kind of mainly my own fault, just because mainly been a very isolated individual the past few years. But yeah. And part of me is like, well, if other people could listen to it, if they identify with it. But here's the thing. Granted, this video should only have been 4 minutes too. Again, this video here, we're going on a full hour. It's an example. You can't let me talk like this because I'll get carried away with it. I'll get too caught up in what I'm saying. And here's the thing, I'm not really even saying anything of any importance either. I'm not talking about fucking particle physics or shit like that. I'm just talking about the random stuff that's in my head. And a lot of it, I'm repeating myself. It's completely self-absorbed information that really wouldn't be of no importance or concern to anyone except to me. It's just, it makes more sense talking to my computer than just talking to myself in my living room. Because if I wasn't recording this, I'd be pacing around my living room saying all of these same things, but to myself or to inanimate objects. Also, maybe a sign that maybe I should try hanging out with human beings in the real world more, and perhaps I should try harder to date. It's just, in general, dating is just, you get rejected so many times and you have so many bad experiences. You're like, one, I guess nobody wants me, and two, you're like, it's just like there's so many rejections and bad experiences. You're like, I'm not even sure a positive experience is possible anymore, let alone if I deserve one. But again, that's kind of a self-negative, self-depreciating thought. But at the same time, I'm like, well, I'm also trying not to be arrogant. I'm like, yeah, you're not fucking, I'm not Keanu Reeves, but I'm also not Gollum from fucking Lord of the Rings either. Okay? You're just a dude who works full-time plus overtime in a factory who plays video games. Who is a hopeless romantic, but also apparently insane. So, I guess that balances out in some way? I mean, it balances out to make me boring. I'll go with that. Because I just like watching anime. I like hanging out with people and talking to people. I like having a sexy girlfriend to cuddle with and just talk to about things and fuck. Yeah, I like playing my guitar. I like drawing. I'm terrible at guitar drawing, but I don't do it to be good. It'd be nice if I could. Like, it'd be nice if I was good at my guitar. It'd be cool. But that's not why I do it. I do it because I enjoy doing it. Same way at the karaoke. I'm not good at the singing. I'm not getting any better. I'm getting worse. But I do it because I enjoy trying to sing the songs. And yeah, and I'm just, but yeah, like I said, as the video continues to get longer and longer, you guys cannot trust me to talk about my feelings. One, I will just keep going and going and going. And two, the more I talk about it, the more unfiltered it gets. And like I said, raw, unfiltered Lunar D8. And like I said, in general, I drop the filter and I press the record button because, I'm trying to just be myself. I don't have to worry about how society would fucking judge me for talking about my weeb interests and how much I like, say, Overlord or Final Fantasy or Dragon Ball Z. Like, yeah, I don't have to worry about being judged because I think Pikachu is awesome. My bad. I think Lapras would be kind of cool in real life. I would probably try racing. Ice Beam! Whee! It's just that I'm a weeb. Like, literally, another song in this playlist was the song from the Pirates of the Caribbean 3, where it says, thieves and beggars, never shall we die. I replaced it with weebs and gamers. Like, I literally sang a song that was, weebs and gamers, never shall we die. Though I got more into it, because I practiced it or something, I don't know. I can't remember if I did or not. I'm just saying this. I am a nerd. I am a weeb. I am socially awkward. And in general, in real life, I am a very stoic, almost unemotional person. To the point that most people would assume that I probably have never cried once in my life. They probably think that my eyes have been dry since the time I was born. That I am the most emotionally boring and uninteresting person in the world. Which is probably still true, by the way. Okay, that's enough of a corny joke. Main point I'm trying to say is this. I am actually an extremely emotional, sentimental person. But in real life, I tend to keep that to myself. Because, well, most people really wouldn't care, and most people would actually be bothered by it. You know, a lot of times in real life, I don't want to share that stuff unless it's with somebody I can trust. But I guess in lack of somebody to trust, I can rant at a computer screen. But even then, there should be limits. Even if this channel is a lot of shit where I'm cringy, and a lot of it's where I'm just like screaming and cussing cuss words at a video game, there's a difference between me cussing at Isaac or Hades and having a full psychotic breakdown about actually important emotional things. Because here's the cool thing. I can be upset and pissed off at a video game because at the end of the day, same way with an anime, it's not real life. In real life shit, you can't just turn that off. You know, it doesn't work the same way as a video game. Pepsi's getting flat already. Yeah, it's just... You guys can't fucking trust me to talk about my feelings. Or, how about this? You guys can't trust me to sing music for any amount of time over 20 minutes. Once we hit 20 minutes of singing, no. You guys can't trust me no more. Because I will get too emotional. Same way, me just talking like this. And there's probably some times during video games where I just sort of got distracted by something, and I just sort of like forgot that I was playing a game, and I just sort of like got carried away on an emotional thought. You guys can't trust me in those situations because I become too emotional, and I'll just talk about whatever. No, in real life, you know, I won't do that because I have to be concerned and aware of the people around me. It's called reading the room. You know, trying to adapt to the people around you so that you aren't a weird-ass motherfucker. You know, I want to be socially accepted. Ha 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 ha. Also, I don't want to be, like, seen as the crazy guy. You know, I want to be seen as normal. And being overly emotional, and a lot of times also is not very good or respectful of other people. Because a lot of times you're more likely to hurt other people's feelings. And I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. You know, unless I hate them. Or they're an asshole. Or they deserve it. But, yeah, I'm just saying, I can't be trusted to talk about personal shit. You guys can't trust me to talk about the shit that matters to me. I can't be trusted to talk about my own feelings because I will get carried away with it. So, before I let this continue on and make this somehow another 13-hour video, but let's be clear, if I did, you know, by the time we got halfway through, I'd probably start screaming and crying, because apparently I can't talk about my emotions for too long of a period of time before I just start breaking down. But then again, other people might say, oh, that's because you have so much fucking repressed emotion. I don't know. Either way, you know, not a good way to do that. So I can't be trusted to talk about my feelings. Because, you know, I'll be emotional and shit. Now that being said, I will do something. First off, if there are people out there that are feeling depressed or sad or emotionally upset by stuff, one thing that does help me is ASMRs. I'll post a few things like Darling Straw Bee or Salem Audio or something. Heck, I know a few people did audio role plays about suicide stuff. If you're listening to this, heck, if somebody out there has actually stayed around and listened to it this long, well, you probably need to listen to them. Because honestly, listening to me ramble on, it's just listening to some random dude talk about what's on his mind. That's not going to help you guys in any way. Same way, even if you could identify with it, hearing me fucking wail and cry, it's not going to help you guys. It's going to be like, just like, okay, holy shit. But that's not actually going to help you guys. So what I'll do is this. I'm going to post down below, like maybe 2 or 3 links or something. And they'll be to other people's pages, other channels. People who have posted videos, people who have channels that I think might be what you need. Heck, even if you only click on this video for a second, you'll still see those links down below. So, even if you just hear 1 second of me talk, that's long enough for you to click on somebody else's video. Honestly, me rambling like this isn't of anybody helped anyone, let alone my 13 hours of emotional breakdown. Like, literally, I feel like there are so many times that you could see, like, fucking Stephen He just pop up in the video and be like, emotional damage! Like, I'm a fucking meme now. I'm just saying his videos are funny. And you hear it all the time, like even VTubers are using the shit as like their little sound alerts, along with the oh-ohs and oohs and shit. But yeah, I'll keep that 13-hour video for my own self-reference, just to have better understanding of just things I should address on a personal level for self-improvement reasons. But there's no reason for me to post for you guys. Honestly, like I said, it's so bad that cringe doesn't even qualify it anymore. Like, it's literally so bad that I'm pretty sure I am a creepypasta. Like, I myself am literally a creepypasta. I'm an SCP monster. Fucking Jeff the Killer and the fucking SCP-187 Peanut Dude, they would run the fuck away from me. Ben Drowned would fucking see me and he'd start doing fucking backstroke to get the fuck away from me. No. Like, there's a point where, like, you cry so fucking hard and get so fucking emotional to the point that you cry so hard that you start vomiting and laughing hysterically that, yeah, you cross the line from cringe. That it's not even cringe anymore, it's just horrible. And it's just, there's no reason to share something like that. Like, it would benefit no one. No one would want to hear that. And even if somebody did want to hear it, it would probably cause them more harm than good. So, there'd be no point to it. Like I said, initially it was supposed to start off as a comedy video. I called it Post Cheeseburger Comedy at first. And it was just supposed to be like 15 minutes of just me casually singing a couple silly songs after the Bendy song. And that was it. Same way this is supposed to be 5 minutes of me just saying, hey, I'm not posting the video. And it's just too fucked up, and bye. That's like 30 seconds. Instead, we're going on an hour 14. Again, just very, like, right there. And same with Jack Hama. Granted, I never went to the extreme that Jack Hama does, but like whether it's training in a gym or doing anything, if I start doing something, I tend to overly commit to it, to sometimes excluding other things, or to the point of burning myself out. And you think at that point, oh, wow, you must be really in shape. Well, it didn't really work out very well for Jack Hama. Granted, if I worked, I never pushed myself as hard as he did, but it's an anime. If I'd ever pushed myself that fucking hard, I'm pretty sure I would have broken every bone in my body. You know, there are things like this kind of thing where Baki reaches a person's neck to grab their optic nerve. That's not where the optic nerve is. Like, there's a lot, like, at one point, Baki gets his fucking brachial artery bit out of his fucking arm. Real life, you bleed to death in 30 seconds. Him? Oh, he continues fighting, and even, after that, he has still complete function of his arm, if not stronger than before. That's not how it works. You're basically crippled for life, if not dead. Those are serious injuries. You don't recover from that shit, even with surgery. That's just, I mean, life is not anime. You can't just do 10,000 push-ups and suddenly have the power to fly. You can't just do 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, 100 squats, and 6 miles a day and have the ability to punch people to the moon. Rather, you're just going to like blow out your fucking knees and give yourself stress injuries. You know, honestly, if you want to get stronger as a person, talk to like a person at a gym who's a professional. And I don't mean just somebody who's like trains a lot. I mean actual fitness trainers, people that are paid to do that job, or dietitians and stuff. I mean, you can look up other people's stuff, but you know, I'm just a random nerdy guy who is not in shape at all. I try, but I fail. So obviously what I'm doing is not working. But in general, one, just moderation. Moderation's key. I apparently can't do it, you know, given the fact that I did a 13-hour video of screaming. So, that is the opposite of moderation. But yeah, I'll post like 2 or 3 ASMR things. Because I'll say this. Listening to me rant or cry or whatever, that's not going to fucking help you guys. But I know some channels that I think would help you. So that if you are feeling sad, I still say you should go see a doctor. Whether it be a therapist or your family doctor or both. Talk to your friends, talk to your family. You know, find help. Because that's definitely not me. I'm definitely not the help. I'm an SCP. Eventually I'm going to be in Containment Breach. I'm going to be one of the monsters you have to run away from. Like, eventually they're going to design a Lunar D8 monster in the newest version of SCP Containment Breach. But I at least know the people that could be the help. I know channels that could be of help to you. And if you want some comedy, some actual good comedy, check out a channel called Nux Taku. He's pretty funny. Particularly his anime flex videos, that's pretty cool. But I'll post some ASMR stuff down below in the links. Like I said, I'm definitely not the help. But the people I post in the links, they are the help. Granted, still go see an actual doctor. Okay? If you have issues like that, which I'm not judging because my issues are so fucking bad that, like I said, cringy doesn't count, that I'm not posting it because it's too bad. Like, I can't share that. It's too, like, this 13-hour video devolved into the most horrifying scream vomit fest of hysterical Joker laughing that you could ever imagine. And it's like, no, we're not sharing that. That's too fucked up. But yeah, you guys, and again, we're still going. I'm still talking. You can't trust me, because in general, people consider me the quiet person sometimes, because I won't hardly talk much, and if I do, I'll be very concise. You have me start actually getting into something and talking about my feelings and shit, I might never fucking shut up. And that's even with the fucking already having a sore throat. I'm still going. But yeah, I'll post some ASMR stuff down below. Bye.